37 things we need to stop saying to autistic people, and as a bonus, how to respond when you hear them. So what do you think? What's the top thing you wish people would stop saying to you? Take a second to leave your answer in the comments now, and then we'll take a look to see if it's in the list of the most common responses. Hi everyone, Paul Mikulev here from Autism from the Inside. I make weekly videos sharing the human side of autism, so make sure you hit subscribe to get the latest content. So a little while ago, I asked the community, what's the top thing NTs should stop saying to autistic people? The responses were quite insightful and very telling of the autistic experience. They range from mildly ignorant and annoying to horrifically invalidating and exclusionary. Plus, I'm pleased to report that the post also sparked a really lovely discussion as to how to respond productively and kindly when people say things that are ignorant, unhelpful, or just plain offensive. But we've already got quite a bit to go through today, so I'll save that for next week's video. For the moment, let's get into it. 37 things we should stop saying to autistic people. I've sorted responses into 5 categories. There's invalidating, dismissive, condescending, intolerant, and outright accusatory. Plus, I've saved the best/worst till last, a subtle trap, a slow but deadly killer, a seemingly innocuous phrase that is actually at the core of social exclusion and isolation. So the first invalidating phrase to make sure not to say to an autistic person is, everyone is a little bit autistic. This is so common and so wrong that I did an entire video on it. Saying that everyone is autistic completely invalidates the autistic experience and basically claims that no one is really autistic. Number 2 is similar. We're all on the spectrum somewhere, right? Now, to be fair, the term spectrum is a little bit confusing. Most people think of it like a continuum rather than a spectrum, where you've got the not very autistic people on one side and the quite autistic people on the other side, which is absolutely not the case. A spectrum is like a rainbow. Is yellow closer to green, or is blue closer to green? Or is red closer to green? Blue, red, green, yellow. Sorry, which one of these is more on the spectrum? The third invalidating experience, isn't it trendy to be autistic right now? This implies that it's a choice that has purely positive implications and completely invalidates all the challenges of the autistic experience. You can't be autistic because. I know this is people trying to be positive, but when you say something like, but you're so nice, I feel like saying, yeah, that's right. I've been practicing, not being a psychopath for a while now. I actually did an entire video on this one as well. Then we have the exact opposite. They're giving autism diagnoses to basically everyone these days. Anyone saying this clearly has no idea how hard it can be to get a diagnosis and how hard people fight to try and get an accurate diagnosis, and how much of a privilege it can be to actually win that fight and have your diagnosis recognized. Similarly, you don't really have autism, you're only self-diagnosed. So as mentioned just now, due to the significant barriers of obtaining a formal diagnosis, and the fact that for many people having that official piece of paper doesn't actually help you get supports in any meaningful way, a very significant part of the autistic community, especially late identified adults, are completely satisfied with their self-diagnosis and have no intention of pursuing something further. So now for the top dismissive things you should never say to an autistic person. Get over it. You wouldn't tell a wheelchair user to get over it because they couldn't go to the movies with their friends because the building wasn't accessible, so they had to stay home by themselves instead. Other people have it worse. Yes, that is a factually true statement. Yet, even if I were the second most afflicted person in the entire planet, that would still be true. So it's kind of irrelevant, isn't it, if someone else has it worse? My body needs water to survive. The fact that there are other people in the world with a much greater urgent need for clean water does not take away from the fact that it is still a valid need for me as well. Some more dismissive responses. I wonder if any of these are familiar. You're overreacting. Stop being so dramatic. You're too sensitive. These are all ways of dismissing a real need. For example, I personally have olive skin and I don't burn easily in the sun. Someone with paler skin who does burn easily is not being too sensitive when they try to avoid getting burnt. Some more dismissive responses. Stop talking about your challenges. Everyone has difficulties. Or stop complaining. You don't know what real trauma is like. These are both versions of the other people have it worse comment. And unfortunately, a lot of us have had very significant negative experiences. which have been dismissed and invalidated by people who don't understand the seriousness of the situation. Or another one, doesn't everyone experience that sometimes? Or, you're so high functioning, you must have mild autism. That's not the same as being really autistic. Just like insert horrifically bad example here. I know people are trying to be nice when they say this, but trying to place autistic people on a continuum from mild to severe ends up dismissing the real hidden challenges that many of us face. Of course, we're not all the same. We each have different challenges, and some of those challenges are severe. Now let's move on to 10 condescending comments. Did you know a lot of narcissists claim to be autistic? Saying to a caregiver, "That's insane, I don't know how you do it." Or how about stop doing that, autistic behavior, because otherwise people will think you're weird. Or when people say, "I have a degree working with kids and special needs. I know how to communicate with autistic people." Ironically, mental health professionals can sometimes be the worst. As the old saying goes, a little knowledge is a very dangerous thing. And so imagining you already know the answer can sometimes get in the way of understanding what's really going on in a situation. Chances are, if you studied autism in the context of children with special needs at university, then you probably have a very limited understanding of the needs of the community as a whole. You don't look autistic, or you don't seem autistic. Don't worry, you'll grow out of it. Oh, are you one of those special kids who's a genius at math? Generic condescending sympathy. Oh, poor you, how can I help fix you? Or people correcting me on my use of language when I say I have autism or I'm autistic. Yes, I get frequently corrected in both directions by various people. So much so I did an entire video on this one too. Or how about, you should be loud and proud about your autism. Okay, so it's fantastic that some people are really proud to be autistic, but that doesn't mean that everyone has to be if you're not feeling it. It's a journey after all. Ignorant and intolerant things we should stop saying to autistic people. Is that why you're a genius? Or what's your savant skill? I didn't know girls could be autistic. Well, now you do. All genders, in fact. All people, in fact, of basically any category can potentially be autistic. I don't understand. You used to be able to insert masking behavior here that I used to struggle through, but now I can't due to burnout. Oh, you're autistic. Have you tried insert the latest fad, whatever it is? Maybe it's a diet or a new meditation practice or something, whatever happens to be trending at the moment. But you function so well. Yeah, sometimes when people are watching. Or some outright accusatory things we should stop saying to autistic people. Like, it's your own fault no one likes you. If you were nicer to people, you'd have more friends. Yeah, be nicer to the people who are excluding me, that'll work. You're just being lazy and difficult on purpose. Or you're not autistic, you're just lazy, weird, selfish, not trying hard enough, just an asshole, you name it. Something not autism though. Stop using autism as an excuse. Stop procrastinating and just do it. It's not that hard. You're putting a label on your child. Why do you want everyone to think they're disabled? Wrong for so many reasons. Anyway, we are finally at the number one top thing that we need to, as a society, stop saying to autistic people. Can you guess what it is that we haven't covered in the list so far? It's the slow but effective killer. I'm sorry, we can't accommodate your needs. We recommend that you find someone else who can accommodate your needs. Or a similar one, I'm sorry, you're just not really a match here. I don't feel like this is a good fit. The implication being, we don't need to change at all, and it's your job to try and find somewhere where you are a good fit. This is, in my opinion, the number one reason why so many of us struggle with social exclusion and isolation. It's very easy for an established group or an established culture to basically say, well, if you want to be a part of us, you need to fit in and you need to conform to whatever we are requiring for this to work. And if that's not possible, that's not the case, well, clearly you're the problem. And it almost sounds nice and considerate. I don't think the services I am offering can meet your needs, and I don't want to waste your time. I think you deserve to have your needs met by someone else who's not me. Except when you've already been around to everyone and got that exact same answer, suddenly it's a bigger problem than I'm not a good fit for this one group. Anyway, I could go on with that, but that will probably drag us into an entirely new topic, so I'd better leave it there. Stay tuned for next week's video. I'll link it somewhere once it's done, on different options of how to respond to ignorant and/or offensive comments. But until then, I'd love to hear what you thought of today's video. Did I cover your number one thing of what you wish people would stop saying to you? Please leave your answer in the comments. Otherwise, I hope you enjoy this video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you again next week. Bye.